Welcome back, friends.
Today is all about installing our cubic mini wood stove inside this adorable little dome home.
It's a 9-foot circular Superadobe earthbag structure that Adelaide has claimed as her own. And it will be a guest room for visitors too.
We've spent the last couple of months building the dome and racing against winter temperatures to get the outside covered and protected. And while the outside plaster and stucco are finally complete, this area where the wood stove will go is wide open to massive water leakage right now.
So let's get this dome dried in. We are back in the dome today. I need to finish the earth and plaster in the fireplace so that I can install the floor, which I have a cool idea for. And then we can install the little fireplace and close up the outside where the flue goes. Adelaide has been doing it, but she is at work today, so it's up to me. Wish me luck. Turns out it's incredibly hard to video doing this because it's just a lot of butt shots. So let me show you where we're at so far. All right, so we've got about halfway up. So that's the floor. I still have that to do. So we're getting there. I think I am going to get our torch out and burn this bag off because nothing wants to stick upside down to a bag. So I think I'm gonna burn that off and then we can plaster that. But I'm gonna keep going up here and try to get all of that finished up. Just really wish Adelaide was here because she's really good at this. I might grab Ada and see if she wants to take a crack at it and see if we can get that top part done. We're close. Still have a ways to go.
Whose idea was this?
Yours?
Nope.
Mine?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we were really struggling getting the earthen plaster in here and getting it to look nice. And because I can't, it's such a tight curve. With a trowel, it's hard because then you leave edge marks with your trowel. So this is magic. Like, get it wet a little bit and you can like do a whole lot of smoothing with this. Like, look how good that looks. We got to remember this for the house because, you know, there's going to be some tight spaces. Maybe this might be nice to use around bottles.
Might be.
So we got to remember this. That's why we're recording it. So we remember to use a brush at some points.
But yeah, this whole area has been quite the pain. Like, just trying to reach up in there and get the material to stick, and then like it's been a whole thing.
So once I get this done and plastered, I gotta get this done before we do the floor.
Yeah.
I'll clean up the floor once this dries really well. Clean it really good. Like, we don't want any dirt on there. Then, instead of laying tile, we're laying something else. And I'm not gonna tell you yet.
You'll just have to see.
It's gonna be cool though. Slight change of plans, if you know me. We didn't wanna try to move a bunch of propane tanks from other things that we have it hooked up to. So we're gonna try cutting the bag off and just burning the edges. It's the most wonderful time of the year because I am going to start laying pennies on the floor where our wood stove is going to go. I'm so excited about this. It's cheaper than tile to use money. Who would have thought? So, we just have this little tiny area. I have special pennies with special dates that mean something to our family that are going to be on the front row. And then random pennies the rest of the time. So, let's get started. We are back in the dome. Pennies have been glued onto the floor where the wood fireplace is gonna go. It's time to grout them in place. Is this the color I want? Absolutely not. Have I done this before? Absolutely not. It's just grout. How hard could it be? This is definitely not the color I want, but we're going to make the color I want. So I'm gonna make sure I have more than I need to cover this area. Now, one thing I do have is concrete tint. That's the color I want, a dark charcoal. So I'm gonna pour a little bit on this. Is this the way to do it? Probably not, but this is what we're doing. This is not a how-to, this is what I'm doing. We're gonna mix it in, make sure it mixes really well, and see if we need to add more, because I really want this almost like a black color. I'm pretty convinced that if you watch enough YouTube videos, you can figure almost anything out. Although I haven't seen this on a YouTube video. Maybe this is the first. It still looks the same, but it's not, I promise. I'll get a better picture here in a minute. The light coming through the window just makes it look really bright. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Black grout. There it is. It's a lot darker. Ta-da! All right, time to get it. We gotta sweep that out. There's a lot of debris in there. Add the grout. We have to wait 4 hours for the grout around the pennies to dry before we can mess with it anymore. So we have a few places that we need to button up, like the bottles above this front door. We need to add a little more stucco around them to make it completely closed in. And there was a couple spots here that we needed to fix, but I already did it. I forgot to show you. It's fine. So last step, fix the bottles. Gonna take like 2 minutes.
One of Adelai's requests for the dome was to be able to climb up to the top of it. Now you might remember we built hyperadobe steps around the edge of the building to get up halfway, and then we installed rebar as we were building a dome to be able to climb up to the top. What we're doing here is just adding some stucco-based handholds so that that rebar isn't sticking out.
The inside of this mini dome is complete, plastered, and the penny floor is installed. It's time to put in the wood stove.
Now, can we just talk about this wood stove for a minute?
It's adorable.
It is adorable. We spent so much time planning with Hayden and talking about how we would heat this dome. We looked at like full-on electric. We looked at buddy heaters. We looked at propane furnaces. But I think as soon as we found the mini wood stove, you and Adelaide were like, this is it.
This is the Cub model from Cubic Mini Wood Stove, and it's perfectly sized for this dome. This little stove can heat up to 200 square feet, but this dome is only 68 square feet.
Now, because of that, because of the circular footprint, because we're putting a bed in here, we really had to take into account making sure that we didn't put a wood fireplace too close to the bed, which is going to be like this custom built-in bed. So you may have seen that we built this little hyperadobe mini dome off to the side, and it's inset back from the main structure, and that's why we did that, so we could put the stove in it and keep it safe so it didn't get too close to anything.
It's like a little side dome.
It's like a little burrito. It's like a little cocoon for the wood stove.
I feel like cocoon is a good word.
Another big bonus is that wood stoves are really good at removing humidity from your space.
Yes.
Now, if you know anything about earthbag building, it's that when you put the dirt in the bags, you do add moisture, and so you tamp it, and then it actually takes a really long time for that.
Like a whole year.
Yeah, like a whole year for all of the moisture to sort of evaporate out of these bags. So this will be a really great fit. Not only will it warm the space, but it will also help regulate the humidity in here too.
Win, win, win. While the Cubic Mini Wood Stove is actually really simple to install, not so much when you're not doing a traditional build.
Yeah, so what you didn't see in part of this planning was that this wood stove is a certain size, and we knew we were putting it out off in the main building. We're going to build a structure to house it, and that the flue needed to go straight up out of that thing that we were making. There was a lot of measuring and planning, and when we poured that little concrete pad and then when we built that dome up, all of that, whether it was left to right, front to back, and even the height of the dome, it was all very meticulously designed to make sure we had the proper clearances on either side and up top, because the flue has to be a certain height for the airflow to work. It was a whole thing.
Yep, but we did it. Probably the trickiest part of this for us was the roof exit kit being installed on an irregular dome shape.
On not a roof.
Nope.
Yeah, so we ran into a few issues here. Besides the weird shape, this whole dome was built sort of with a different material than we had ever done. This was the first time we'd used stabilized AB mix in the bags instead of native soil, and plus the mixture that we put on the outside was very heavy, like concrete sand and Portland, and then fiberglass stuck on top of that. And usually we can just like screw into our bags. Couldn't screw into this.
Nope, this is basically masonry.
Masonry.
Masonry. It's masonry. What am I calling it?
Masonry.
Okay. Guys, this is masonry.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we realized, because all of our screws were just dulling. They wouldn't go all the way in.
Break off.
If we tried to drill into it, the drill bits would just stop drilling, and it wouldn't make a hole. It would just start breaking everything apart.
Lots of research later, we found the right drill bits, the right screws, and the right actual drill. We had to buy a new drill.
Yeah, we've never done anything with masonry before. So yes, masonry. We had to get a hammer drill. We had to get hammer bits. We had to get actual concrete screws. And after we figured that out, the process was much smoother. So even though we did get it screwed in all the way around, we still had to put a bunch of caulk underneath that seal and then build up the stucco, because it wasn't perfectly flat. You know, it was all handmade. And we do plan on coming back in the next video when we do the elastomeric, and we're going to paint all around that and get it all nice and sealed in. But we were a little worried about this. It turned out a lot better than I thought.
Yep. Today is the day we're going to light our stove for the first time. It's all set up, so let's go over to the dome. Are you ready to light the fire? Sure. Okay, Now that we have this fireplace installed on a finished floor, it's time to light it. To light the mini cubic wood stove, we are going to first crumple in some paper and then some little kindling. Now that we have our paper and our kindling in, it's time to adjust the vents. First, you want to make sure your primary vent is open, which is on the front. Slide that to the right so that it's open, and make sure your secondary vent on the bottom is closed. Now it's time to just take your lighter or matches and go ahead and light the paper. Once your paper and kindling are burning, it is time to leave that door open for 3 to 5 minutes. Leave it completely open. If you need to keep adding some sticks, go ahead and do that. We want this fire to be hot. After it's been about 3 to 5 minutes, you'll notice that the flame is like pulling up the chimney. So that flue has to get hot before it like creates that draft. I'm learning all of this for the first time. Now that our fire is actually going and it's pulling through the chimney or the flue, I'm not sure if there's a difference. We're gonna start adding bigger pieces of wood, but we're gonna leave some space in between them. We're gonna kind of stack them like Lincoln logs. After it's been about 5 to 7 minutes, you're gonna go ahead and stack some bigger size wood in there and close the door. After you close that door, you can hear it start. Lesson learned. Close the door. Just a reminder, this is the primary vent and this is the secondary vent. During the first 20 minutes, you want to keep this primary vent open and the secondary vent closed. After the first 20 minutes, you can open the secondary vent and adjust the primary vent to whatever you need it to be. We've got a good amount of our little tiny logs in the fireplace, so we're gonna let this go for about 20 minutes and come back and open this secondary vent. Now that the mini wood stove has been installed, it is time to move to the next step, which will be sealing the outside of this dome with elastomeric.
And once the outside is sealed, that means all our attention moves to the inside, which means we're on the downward slope. That is the official teeter-totter point where things get faster and we get really excited. Now listen, if you think this cubic mini wood stove is as cool as we think it is, we have an affiliate link. We're going to throw it in the description. You should go check them out. We really like it. Can't wait to put more of these in other buildings.
Like the Airstream?
New buildings, not old buildings.
Should we put it in the Airstream and the solar shed? Do you know how nice that would be in the solar shed at night?
Be great. Hey, can I tell you something? There's some names scrolling on the screen right now.
Oh yeah. Do you see these names?
We're talking about wood stoves, but let's talk about homies.
Hey guys. These names are tiny shiny homies.
They're the people that support us every month. And we couldn't do this without them. And so we just want to say, hey, thanks.
Hey, thanks.
We see you.
But we also want to say thank you to you, viewer, We also want to say thank you to you for watching this video and leaving a comment and hitting the thumbs up button
and the subscribe button.
Now, guys, thank you.
Listen, we're gonna step apart here just a little bit. And right here is going to be the next video that you should go watch.
Hey, look at that. Remember this video?
I do remember this video.
Man, you should watch that one. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.